And so the evidence is this. Paul uses the term Jesus is Lord. When he does that, he means Lord in the same sense as it's used 6,000 times in the Septuagint. He is equating, when he uses that term, Yeshua to God. So the evidence is that Paul, as did most diaspora Jews, used the Greek Septuagint as his personal Bible rather than the Hebrew Tanakh. Thus, when Paul says to confess that Yeshua is Lord, is kurios, he means Lord in the sense of how it is mostly used in the Septuagint as a substitute for the formal name of God. And yet, told you it gets complicated. Clearly, Paul differentiates Yeshua from God the Father. That is, Paul does not see Yeshua as God the Father. To use C.E.B. Cranfield's definition, Paul intends to communicate that Jesus is Lord means that Yeshua shares the name and the nature, holiness, authority, power, majesty, and eternity of the one and only true God. It is Paul's way of emphasizing the divine essence of Yeshua. This is important. This is important. See, because the Hebrew term Messiah, Mashiach, which just means Christ or Savior in English, in no way indicates a divine nature. Messiah is, in the Second Temple period, both a person and a function. It is the one who is anointed by God to rescue Israel from her oppressors and to restore Israel's fortunes. So in the Jewish mindset, Paul's mindset, saying that Yeshua is Messiah, Jesus is the Christ, merely means he is the deliverer of Israel, but only in a physical and a political way. Not as a superhuman, not as deity, not as God, but rather as just a highly effective human warrior leader. To be clear, Jesus is Lord versus Jesus is Messiah is two entirely different things. Paul sees Yeshua as both of them. By Paul adding the attribute that Jesus is Lord to the equation means that on the one hand, Yeshua is the human being that leads Israel out of its physical and political oppression to Rome. But on the other hand, it also means that he is divine and he bears the substance and authority of the God of Israel. Paul's meaning was well understood within Jewish circles. So, Jesus is Lord is not a throwaway. It's not an extra high degree term of respect for him. It is a critical theological assertion about who Yeshua is and about what his purpose is. He is divine. He is of essentially the same substance as Jehovah, God the Father, and he has also come to deliver his people. Now, for most, but not all forms of Christianity, this concept of who Christ is taken for granted. This concept that I just explained to you. But for Judaism in Paul's day, such a possibility was very controversial. However, the idea that the Messiah of Israel could be both human and divine, something that modern Jews say is idolatry, was accepted. It was accepted by a significant segment of mainstream Judaism in Paul's day. So he wasn't alone in this belief, and he didn't invent the idea. What kept Paul in hot water with the Jewish community was his constantly rubbing elbows with Gentiles. And even offering them the benefits of the Jewish Messiah without them converting and becoming Jews. That was why Paul was always in trouble.